Well, now there's been a bit of a furore following Steve Morrison's post-match interview in recent days. Steve Morrison, of course, a Millwall legend, played for a number of clubs, was a damn good player, now manager of Sutton, who in League Two, they drew with Colchester, and maybe Steve wasn't in the best of moods when he was interviewed post-match. Have a listen.
Two key moments, the clearance off the line from their defender and Harry's penalty miss. Was there a decision behind Harry taking a spot kick?
No. It's a very random question.
Yeah, it's interesting because obviously there aren't many players on the pitch that could take a spot kick, but
anyone could have taken him. And Harry put his hand up and took the penalty, and there's no... yeah. I don't really understand the question, but anyway, it's fine. Let's move on.
Considering the performance, as you say, you're proud of your players, but what could you have done anything differently to be able to get the outcome in your favour in this game?
Yeah, put the ball in the back of the net.
Anything more than that?
Put it in the back of the net twice. Not really.
Defensively, it's now 12 games without a clean sheet. It's becoming a bit of a challenge keeping goals out. Can you see a way of stopping teams from scoring goals against you?
Yeah, stop conceding goals. I'm not going to start telling you what we do on the training ground or stuff like that. So, yeah, stop conceding goals. Yeah. Be honest, mate, the line of questioning is really weird. I don't really understand it. I don't really get what you're trying to get at.
Now, of course, when you listen to that, obviously it's a bit of a train wreck of an interview. The young lad doing the interview, I'm sure, will learn from it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, could Steve not have helped the lad out a bit more?
Look, you ask stupid questions, you get stupid answers. I think you could be more generous in spirit. I'm
not so sure they were stupid.
Well, I think they're formulaic and there's not a lot of substance behind them. And what the manager will look at them and go is, what's the point of that question? What are you trying to get? You're trying to get something that creates a challenge for me when I say the answer to it. But I also don't think they're very educated. I think he's reading from a crib sheet. But there's also this feeling that Steve Morrison is a 40-year-old man. This sounds like an early 20s kid. He could be a bit more generous in spirit,
right,
and help him through. And he didn't need to add the bit at the end. But I don't think that. I think it's a good lesson for the young man. I think he will listen back to that and go, okay, if I want to be a meaningful journalist, I need to ask meaningful questions.
Yeah.
And if you ask stupid questions, what could you have done more to win that game? We'll score more goals.
Yeah, but there's no need for that.
What could you have done better to not concede goals? Defend better is the answer. I mean, it's like asking. Asking Gordon Strachan, can I ask you? Can you give me a quick word? Yeah, velocity.
Yeah.
You could say that's being facetious.
Well, it was then, and it is now.
Well, it is, but sometimes when you're dealing with imbecile journalists, you can't find yourself being anything else.
He's not an imbecile, though. The boy's not an imbecile. He's doing his job.
He asks imbecile questions.
Could you have done anything differently? Yeah, we could. We could have done.
Well, of course.
The guys at the back might have done X, and the midfield might have done Y.
But that's
what he's hoping for.
They're relatively mundane, pedestrian, rather silly questions. Because you can say, but we can always do something. Yeah, I can always do something better. What you want is the answer. So you ask a stupid question, or a rather uninspired question, and you get a stupid, uninspired answer.
Yeah,
I don't think he was pleasant, Steve. I don't think he was unnecessarily unpleasant, but I also think that he could have had a bit more generosity in his spirit. At the end of the interview, he didn't need to say what he said. If he wanted to give the answer, the questions were formulaic, so he gave formulaic, facetious answers. The bit at the end is unnecessary, I think. Yeah. I don't think he needs to be saying, it's a bit of a strange interview.
If he won the game, he would have been more accommodating.
Maybe, but then again, maybe he wouldn't have been. But yes, of course, people's moods are influenced by outcomes. He didn't lose the game, did he? He drew the game, so he wasn't actually holding his head in his hands and bemoaning whatever bad luck he's got. But what you've also got is somebody in front of you. If it were me, I remember you asking me imbecilic questions years ago about the Iain Dowie court case, and me having disdain for those questions, and Adrian Durham the same. But you were grown men, which didn't explain your behaviour at the time and your ridiculous questions. Yeah. But when you've got a young man in front of you, I think you can be a little bit more generous.
You can cut him
a bit. You can look at it
slack.
and go, well, I'm dealing with a kid, or a person that's developing his career. I don't need to cut him off at the knees.
Just as you should have cut me a bit more slack all these years ago when I was determined to nail you.
You were 87 at the time and you should have known better.
So if that young interviewer is listening this morning, I'm with you. You'll learn from it, as we all have done, as I have done. Maybe I haven't learned enough. It's not quite in the category of the fella that once asked the two identical twins of proclaimers, so you two go back a long way then. We're coming to up to 12 noon. Many people supporting that young lad who was interviewing Steve Morrison on the other side of the 12 noon bulletin there, saying next time, maybe think a bit more about your questions, but be confident, stay with it, and get through it. You will do in the end.
And you learn more from adversity than you do from success. So the young man will gain a good lesson there.
Yeah.
Ask good questions and have a bit of courage of pushing back at the manager's answers.
Yeah. Managers being good and decent with the media, is that an important thing to you, Simon, that they do
Not
give
really.
them a bit of time, they do cut them a bit of slack, or should they?
I have mixed emotions about that, because sitting on the other side of the fence now, I can understand the nature of this industry more than I could have understood it when I was on the other side of the fence answering the stupid questions that was asked of me and watching my managers wade through stupid questions.
What do you understand more about the industry now? Because you're certainly not showing it.
I'll tell you, no understanding of the value of it.
All right.
Of course, the understanding of the commercial benefits of it, because without this broadcast industry, the footballers and football managers wouldn't be getting paid the kind of money that they're getting.
Precisely.
And they wouldn't kind of get the awareness. So I understand that more. I understood it at the time. Right? There's a balance. I think interviewers should be better. I think they should be more forthright. They should ask good questions. And I think managers should be more respectful at times of the interviews that they're giving. But also, I think there should be a Faustian pact, and I think it should work both ways. I think managers should be able to put journalists in their place, and journalists should be able to ask managers pointed questions. And at the end of it, we should get insight, because that's what it's all about.
Exactly.
And about educated insight.
Did you want your managers to have a degree of media savvy?
I wanted my managers to put people in their place when they needed to. I wanted my managers to be able to hold themselves in good order in interviews, which meant saying what they mean and meaning what they said. I would defend my manager against anything if he was going after a discussion. If he had a discussion with a journalist and journalists asked him fractious questions and he was robust with the journalist, I would appreciate it more. Like the other day we were talking about the lack of prickliness in one of the managers. Was it Pochettino? I think it was one of the managers. And I was like, well, I expected more from him in an interview. So I expected him to be more robust and push back against the line of questioning and to be more resistant to the Gary Neville assertions that were being made, rather than sort of allude to the fact that he respects Gary Neville. What do you respect about Gary Neville's observations? He's called you a bottle job. You can't respect any of that. But then again, maybe there's also this situation with the media where you don't trust them, because you know that there are segments of the media that are not looking for the substance, they're looking for the headline. And that headline gives them what they want. And you know it, you know, like Brendan Rodgers the other day. He opened a can of worms and suddenly realised, I'm giving them something that I don't want to give them. So I'm going to stop myself in mid-sentence. It was incumbent upon him not to say the thing in the first place, because he opened the question and the journalist did her job. So I would like my managers to own what they're saying and go hard or go home.
Yeah. I mean, all these years ago when you served a written Dowie.
Yes.
When he took
I thought that was funny.
When he took the job at Charlton and you were incensed by that. It was obvious that there was going to be something of a pile-on regarding yourself as to why did you do that? Did you feel there was a need to do that?
Yeah, because I thought he was a disloyal, lying, disingenuous slob.
No,
and I wanted to show it out in the media world precisely what I thought of him, because my period of time with him was racked with me looking after him on many, many fronts that I will not bring into the public domain. And my reward for that was for him to betray and lie and elicit a response, or elicit a release from his contract, which cost me a lot of money, and I wasn't prepared to accept it. And more people that got a bit more balls about them should do the things that I did, and people portrayed it. And
so
it was,
you were kind of settling a personal score there, though.
Well,
you decided to do it in the public domain.
I was constant. I thought it was because, and you lot were involved, because I phoned up one of your guys and got access into the building as a result of Sky helping me do it. So you lot were co-conspirators.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really.
Oh, I didn't know anything about that.
The original principle was I had a private detective on him serving a writ in Dowie in front of that smug sod Richard Murray, the Charlton chairman, and serve him live on air, but we couldn't get in.
Oh, I see.
So I phoned up one of your producers at Sky and said,
right,
we can't get in because we haven't got press accreditation. Could you help us? And by the way, turn your cameras to the door.
All right.
Which
so
is
you
what
orchestrated the whole thing?
Yes. I planned it from my front room in Spain, watching it and laughing.
You had way too much free time in your hands,
I was like Baron von Greenback from Danger Mouse, sitting there going, see, Baroni. Get it, Dowie. Go on, eat it.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.